So what does solidarity mean? It means that even though an issue may not affect you directly, you're still willing to throw down on somebody else's behalf. Because an injury against one is an injury against all. And also, you know that they'll have your back when an issue that doesn't affect them affects you. It means that we as individuals may be weak, but together, we're strong. Now, as much as we on the left like to think that we're so great at solidarity, it often ends up boiling down to us thinking that we can just say, oh yeah, I'm with you, and then go back to doing whatever we're doing. That our work is over after we've simply expressed a sentiment. And that's not the case. That's not how it works. Which brings me to today's topic. Hello, ladies. According to YouTube's analytic tools, you make up about 38% of my audience, which is kinda out of whack because you make up 52% of the world's population. But then, as of the beginning of the recession, women are also half as likely to have lost their jobs. And what do unemployed men do? Sit around watching YouTube videos, apparently. Now, why have women been twice as likely to be able to keep their jobs? Probably because they make about 70 cents for every dollar a man makes. So they're, cheaper to hire. What I want to talk about today, though, is how women in our society have the shit end of the stick. Now, granted, compared to other societies where, you know, the woman in the household may have a ranking just slightly above the family dog, in our society, they're still second-class citizens. And sure, we can compare ourselves to other cultures in which women have it worse off, and feel good about how much better women have it here, but a big part of that is we've gotten used to how badly we treat women in our society. We've gotten used to our level of shitty as being normal, and so we don't even see it. And sure, women do have some natural advantages that men don't have. For instance, women live an average of 7 years longer than men, but that's not really an advantage. It just means they have to stick around for 7 years longer putting up with our bullshit. Misogyny is pervasive in our society, and I'm not talking just about the mandatory intervaginal ultrasounds that have now become attached to going to get an abortion in the state of Virginia. Well, I mean, I actually am sort of talking about that, but it's bigger than that. No, actually, let's talk about that specifically. Having an abortion is already a very difficult decision and an extremely traumatic experience. We don't need to make it any more so. It's not like women go into an abortion clinic on a whim and then realize, oh, I was just thirsty. Sorry, I stole that joke from Sarah Silverman. If you actually want to get rid of abortion, making abortions illegal is an ignorant and ham-fisted way of going about it. If you actually wanted to get rid of abortion, you would look at the root causes of why women actually go to have abortions. And then you would deal with those root causes. The issue of abortion is inextricably linked to economic justice. Overwhelmingly, women choose to have abortions because of financial conditions. It's not fair to force a woman to support a child when she can barely support herself. When women are faced with the reality that starting a family could force them to become homeless, abortion is a terrible way out of an even worse situation. Don't believe me? Consider this. In countries where they have a strong state welfare system, i.e. they have universal health care, they have a strong neonatal care program, they have strong state assistance for new mothers, they have state programs for child care during the day, despite it actually being easier for women to get an abortion in those countries, abortion rates are about half of what they are here. In the United States, almost 21 out of 1,000 pregnancies end in abortion. In England, 17. In Finland, 11.1. In Canada, 10.4 out of every 1,000. So these supposedly godless, immoral, European-style socialist countries have lower rates of abortion than the United States of America. Is that to do with their having some sort of moral superiority? No. In fact, if you live in Europe, statistically speaking, you're far more likely to bump into an atheist. So these godless, socialist atheists have lower rates of abortion than the United States does, which is supposedly, you know, a moral Christian country. So clearly our morality and Christianity has absolutely no impact on abortion rates. The real root cause is poverty, a lack of social mobility, desperation. With a strong state welfare system, women don't have to worry about becoming homeless just because they're starting a family. In countries with strong maternity leave laws, they don't have to worry about giving up on their entire life's career just to start a family. In countries where there are strong state support systems for new mothers, women don't have to constantly worry about their children getting the care that they need. But these fucking cavemen who live in Virginia, these ugly white men who have penises, not vaginas, and have testicles, not ovaries, these ugly theocratic shit stains who will never, ever be pregnant. They're deciding that they can make decisions for women and their families. And since Roe v. Wade outlaws them from prohibiting abortion specifically and entirely, what they're doing instead is a very passive-aggressive way of making it as difficult and as invasive and insulting as possible. So what they're doing in Virginia is if a woman has decided that she can't make ends meet, that she can't bring a child to term for whatever reason, now, before she has that child aborted, when she goes into the doctor's office, the doctor is going to stick a camera up her vagina. She's going to be forced to watch an ultrasound image of the fetus before it's aborted. They think that they're going to be somehow driving down the rate of abortion by forcing women to look at a little gray blob on the screen, as though these women haven't given it serious thought beforehand, as if they didn't realize that they were carrying a child. Forcing them to undergo this incredibly invasive and insulting procedure is somehow going to magically cause them to have a change of consciousness. But what these encrusted dingleberries in the Virginia state government are actually doing is simply rubbing it in women's faces who are already in a shitty situation that they're in a shitty situation. See this child that you can't afford to raise? See this child that you might want to bring into the world but can't possibly afford to? What they're actually doing is just further punishing poor people for being poor. Abortion is absolutely tied to economic justice. What these plutocratic assholes are doing are rubbing poor and working sisters' faces in the fact that they are poor and working class. And then they have the audacity to claim that it's about morality. If it was really about morality, then we would have state programs in place that would allow them to bring children to term without having to worry about homelessness, about financial disaster. If it was actually about morality, we would see strong social programs in place. In response to this, there's been a call sent out for a sex strike going from April 28th to May 5th. I don't know who's behind it, but I think it's awesome. And I think I'm the only dude who's genuinely excited about it. Now, we brothers on the left wing, we may stand with our sisters on principle, but we're quick to forget that the war against women is our fight too. And we must not only be, oh yeah, I'm with you, allies, but we must be strong allies. We can't just say that, oh yeah, I'm with you. We need to get out into the trenches and be fighting alongside our sisters in this movement. To those who say, hey, I didn't do anything, why are you punishing me? Exactly. You haven't done anything. Probably because you don't really feel that this affects you. You need to get off your lazy ass and join us in the trenches. I've been really astounded by the reactions of many of my male friends who I thought were, you know, left-wing progressive people. And what's actually most surprising is the general tone of their responses is something along the lines of, how dare you deny me sex? This just goes to prove how much they don't get it. Two things to remember. One, this protest is about a woman's right to control her own body, her own life, and her own destiny. Number two, brothers on the left who don't get it are acting like sex with a woman is something that they have a right to, that they're entitled to, as opposed to something that women must consent to. And since they clearly don't get it, I would refer them back to number one. One, this protest is about a woman's right to control her own body, her own life, and her own destiny. I mean, women really do have the shit end of the stick in our society. If even their so-called allies see them as sex objects and access to their vaginas as being an entitlement or a right. But then again, we've gotten so used to how shitty we treat women that we're blind to it. It's become normal. So you know what, sisters? I say take part in the sex strike. Assert yourselves, assert your power. Remind your brothers in the movement that an injury against one is an injury against all, and that this is their fight too. Solidarity. Did you like this video? Please donate what you think it was worth in the link below. Please also be sure to click the like button. If you want to help me continue to produce videos like this one, please become a monthly sustainer over at punkpatriot.com. I make t-shirts.